The Golden State Warriors continue their road trip. They hope to win their first road game of the season. They're in Miami. The last time they were there, drama was abound. Jimmy Butler and Udonis Haslem were going at it. Coach Spoelstra just cracked a clipboard on the court. Wonder if we'll have some fun tonight. But more importantly, the Golden State Warriors have to turn things around. And I have a fresh, young perspective. Two of them, in fact, joining me today. Sophia Jones, point guard for the San Jose State Spartans. Christian Feraria, my former student at St. Mary's, who's the author of a new book. And the book is called The Mediocre Student's Guide to Graduating College. We're going to talk about the Warriors next. So Christian, you also used to host a podcast covering the Warriors. We're going to have fun, I hope. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. You can follow Sophia Jones on Twitter at Sophia Jones_2. You can follow Christian Feraria on Twitter at QTC_Christian, and I hope I pronounced your last name right. Yes, you give me the thumbs up. I love it. Let's talk about the Warriors. Their defense sucks. They're ranked last in the NBA in points allowed, or at least they were tied for that the last time I saw the stat. Sophia, I will start with you. Your dad was calling Warriors games in the NBA Finals for ESPN. You know a thing or two about hoops. What are you seeing so far from the Golden State Warriors, and why do you think they're down? They're under 500 to start the year.
I would say one of the biggest reasons why they are struggling defensively is due to the loss of Mike Brown on the coaching staff, because he was the main defensive mind behind their whole scheme. And so just kind of with that chemistry that the coaches had got broken up a little bit, in addition to the chemistry that the players are having on the court, because they're bringing in a lot of new players which don't fit in as well with the way that they play defense. So it's just kind of getting the groove with all of that.
And let me ask for more specifics there for a second. Like, what do you think? And again, you're playing right now for San Jose State. I know you're I don't know if you're redshirting or you're out for the year with your torn ACL. I'm so sorry you experienced that, but you're going to be back soon. You're still part of the team. You're involved in practices. What do you think Mike Brown was doing as a head coach? Not a head coach, as an assistant coach, but more specifically, Steve Kerr anointed him the defensive coordinator of this team, and they lost that. What do you think Mike Brown was doing specifically behind the scenes, given your experience, that was making such a huge difference? Because this Warriors defense is the worst I've seen it during the dynasty, except for maybe those 2 years that we don't count. But your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say, because like every team does kind of have that head defensive person, and obviously there's the head coach, so like Steve Kerr, and he's going to be like the big overall picture. He oversees everything. But in the position that Mike Brown was in, where he was dealing with those more specifics, he really got to do a deep dive and help really coach and like tell them on a day-to-day basis, like, hey, like, this is what you need to do. I hear stories of, like him watching film with Andrew Wiggins on like how to guard, and he does. So it's like kind of like those little things that they're missing, that they need to kind of fill that role in order to get to that same defensive juggernaut role that they were.
Absolutely. And the great news is they had a great defense before Mike Brown was there. Hopefully they'll recapture it. Christian, you used to host a podcast, and you've got a new book out. We'll talk about that later in the show, pertaining to the Mediocre Student's Guide to Graduating College. That's the title of the book. You were never a mediocre student, Christian, but I love the humor and the self-deprecation. Christian, your immediate impression of the Warriors. They're 3-4. They're 0-3 on the road. It's early, but tonight represents the 10% mark of the regular season. What have you seen so far that sticks out to you in terms of maybe negatives and what they could do to turn things around?
I see the boys go at it. I want to see them clean up there in a little bit before the podcast. He wants to give up like 20 seconds, like all the offensive rebounds. I want to see closing position defense. There was one game where the team went down and scored a layup. That can't happen to a team. But I think everybody just needs to relax. One thing people aren't always bringing up is this isn't all these new guys that we have to bring in and gel. He's going to get in the locker room and the vet, but we just need more heart, more sense of might have the championship hangover, which is we'll be fine.
Absolutely. Christian, your connection for some reason sucks. So what I'm going to do is Sophia, we'll do it's okay. Christian, don't worry. We'll fix it. Sophia, you and I will talk for the next 5 minutes. Christian, you sit tight. We're just going to switch things up after the first break because Sophia, you got to go do work with the San Jose State team anyways. So Sophia, let me ask you this. Christian, you'll take over in just a minute, I promise. Sophia, let me ask you this. What can the team do from your perspective? And maybe let me narrow it down to the young players, right? Because they're the ones that seem to be glaring the most in terms of not really so far holding their end of it. Maybe that's too much pressure on them. They're super young. Kuminga's not getting playing time. He's averaging 7 minutes less per game than he did his rookie year. That's not a good thing for someone who's in year 2 now. Moody, I think, is doing fine. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me on that or not. I mean, he had a calf strain that limited his minutes to start the season, but I think he's going to be okay. I think Wiseman's actually doing fine. I hear a lot of criticism about him. He just needs experience. And I think he's holding his own so far. He's going to make mistakes given how little he's played. What are your thoughts on those 3 players, the young players, and maybe anyone else sticking out to you? And why do you think they're struggling? Do you think it's normal? Just give me all your thoughts on the young players and the Warriors, please.
Yeah, I know Christian touched upon it, but I feel like one of the big issues too is just that the Warriors are playing with a little bit of lack of urgency so far this season. So they think that, they can kind of get away with some of the things that they've been doing, but it's like they don't have those same pieces to be able to bring themselves back in the game. So with the loss of Gary Payton II and Otto Porter Jr., those were huge defensive pieces with the Warriors. So I kind of think with those young guys too, is kind of they're having to fill in those roles of the types of defensive presence that they brought. And I think it also starts from the top because you can't expect younger guys to look at players like Steph Curry and Draymond Green and see the way that they're playing and think, oh, we have to we'll just follow their lead. And maybe they're not playing with the level of urgency that they should be. So, yeah.
Agreed. Let me express this opinion to you and let me know if you agree or disagree with it and why. You're a point guard. Ty Jerome was a relatively new pickup. He's a current 2-way player. They let go of Quindary Weatherspoon to make room for him. I don't agree with that decision, but it is what it is. It's Kerr's team. Who am I to disagree with them? But with that said, I don't like Jonathan Kuminga not getting playing time and Ty Jerome getting playing time. And bigger picture, I don't like the fact that the Kerr's not playing these young players to give them the reps they need, regular season in-game reps. It'd be one thing if they're winning these games, but given they're not winning these games, I feel like you're just wasting a lot of opportunities here. Your thoughts on what I just said there? Am I crazy? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say I agree with you, especially, with these back-to-back losses versus the Pistons and the Hornets. I feel like those are perfect opportunities where you do want to give those younger guys exposure, especially because coming down the line, that you're going to have to play them and use them at some point. So you want to make sure that they're functioning cohesively on the court before just throwing them out there in a situation that they're not familiar with.
Absolutely. Sophia, I'm going to let you go. You got practice to go to. I sincerely thank you for jumping in for a few minutes. Christian and I will take over the rest here. Anything you want to promote before I let you go? I know you're playing for San Jose State. Your athletics program, I know this was on the football side, but they experienced a tragedy recently, the unexpected loss of an 18-year-old running back. One of the players on the team is a student of mine, and I'm firsthand seeing how this is affecting at least the football team. How are you doing? Is your side of things on women's basketball okay? And bigger picture, anything else you'd like to promote before we let you go?
Yeah, it's obviously like we're all such a close-knit community as San Jose State student athletes. So whenever one of us gets affected, we feel connected, even though if we didn't know him personally. So yeah, just hoping for the football team and for his family just to be able to get through these hard times. And I would also like to say that we have our first exhibition home game this Thursday versus
Nice.
CSU Monterey Bay.
Oh, I just love that that's a school. You too, I doubt you remember when that did not exist. But how can people follow San Jose State women's basketball action? Like if they want to watch games, whether it's online, in person, if they want to see the schedule, is there any specific link you can promote or maybe like a social so that we can kind of follow along?
Yeah, so just San Jose State women's basketball on Twitter and Instagram. You'll see a lot of content about our schedule and the players and just coaches too. And then our schedule will be on the San Jose State Spartans website. You just kind of have to, it's pretty easy to follow. And to watch, all the information will be laid out on the schedule website.
Love it. Sophia, say hi to your dad for me. I think hopefully he's going to come on the show soon. I know he's doing a ton of work between and calling NBA games on ESPN and the Sacramento Kings, which on another show, I'd love to ask you what your feelings are on that. Like, do you automatically have to become a Kings fan because your dad's calling the team?
Yeah.
But thank you so much
the
for coming on.
colors.
So, what's up?
I've always liked their colors. I love purple. So yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Sophia. We'll have you on again soon, okay?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Bye.
you. Take care.
You too.
And then in just a moment, Christian, the viewers will see a different feed. We're going to switch over to Zoom just because this platform, hopefully Locked On, will switch over to our new platform soon. This thing is just causing a lot of issues. But first, got to give some love to a longtime sponsor. Well, kind of long time. They're actually kind of new, but that's LinkedIn. And these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn Jobs, it helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen today. After you're done with us, go check out Locked On Sports today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. You follow Christian Feraria. Did I pronounce that right?
Yep, you did.
Bam, at QTC_Christian. His new book is out. It's called The Mediocre Student's Guide to Graduating College. Why aren't you doing a podcast anymore, by the way? What happened to that? I remember you were doing a show. I was gonna like come on your and then all of a sudden you're like done and you're like working for Twitter. I don't know what was going on with you. What's up?
Passions changed and stuff. Different. The pandemic was a good time with a lot of friends. We were all indoors, so we could make a time. But then once everything started opening up, bars. That's another thing too. We couldn't drink before the pandemic, and then once stuff started to open up, all my friends were over 21, so we could start popping out again. So yeah, the priority went down, but
I love it. And we'll talk about your book in just a second. You we're talking off the air. You have eternal optimism abounds with you. You think the Warriors are going to be fine. You're stating it like it's fact. Explain to me and explain to the audience why a team, granted, look, it's only 7 games in. And I do agree with you. I think they're going to be fine as well. But I just look, that right now the Warriors are dead last in points given up per game. They give up 122 points per game. Point differential, a stat that they routinely dominate. They're 23rd in the NBA at minus 3.2. This tells me that the wins that they are getting aren't necessarily dominant, and they're getting cleaned when they lose. So far, things are looking great. Again, I love your optimism. Tell me why you think the Warriors are going to turn this thing around and get back on track.
Well, one, we have good coaching and we have a system in place that's been good over the last few years. That's why I'm confident. And we have new players. We're implementing them into the system. So it's clearly going to take time. Another thing is we have young players. We're teaching them how to win. And they're on essentially a championship. They're on a championship team and whatnot. So they have to find their roles and whatnot. But yeah, we're going to be fine. Draymond, and I think the vets really need to step in and mentor these young guys. And if you look at what we're not doing, like we're not rebounding, that can be cleaned up. Urgency, clap, 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 hustle, go get them. I mean, we'll be fine. We just need to really mentor these young guys because quite frankly, and I think it might be a little unfair to them, but like Wiseman and all these other people, they have expectations. You know, like before, remember Wiseman's first season, he was doing really well, but there was no expectations on him to do that. Now it's like, we need his 17 points. We expect 10 rebounds. That's all. And for a young player, I don't know if that's necessarily fair, but that's just what we need him to do right now. Absolutely.
What about Kuminga, man? I'm not a fan, regardless of what's going on in practice. There must be something going on there. I don't like the fact that he's playing 7 less minutes in his second year. I feel like if now is the time where you have to go through these bumps and bruises, and they're 3-4 so far. They might be 3-5. They lose in Miami tonight. Let's hope that's not the case. But this is when I feel like Kuminga should be playing and getting his reps. But he's not. He's averaging approximately 10 minutes per game, maybe just shy of that. What are you seeing from Kuminga, man? And what are your thoughts on that?
So first, I'm thinking what you're thinking. I think something's going on in practice because, in the first year of somebody's career, it's okay for them to kind of ride the bench and whatnot. But year 2, that's when they kind of blossom. And some of the people that were playing over him, it's just like, really? Like, I think Kuminga has like potential that a lot of these guys don't have. So I would say, one, something's going on in practice. And yeah, I think Kerr just needs to let him fly because, we saw glimpses of, I think potentially a superstar. So yeah, hopefully we get him in. But also, if we keep going like we're going, I think we're going to have to play him because he brings something to the court, that energy, that explosiveness, quite frankly, that we don't necessarily have in that second unit.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I'm 100% with you. Something came in the news last night, and it kind of came out of nowhere. I think you know what I'm talking about, and that's a certain future Hall of Fame center who literally expressed interest in playing for the Warriors. I want to play that sound clip first. Let me get this set up here. Here we go. Again, I'm doing this on Zoom now because we have not integrated to a new platform. All right, so here is Dwight Howard expressing interest again in playing for the Golden State Warriors.
What about the defending champs, the Warriors?
Oh, man, that's perfect. I've been a Warrior my whole life. I started out at my school as a Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
They need a big. I know they have Kevon Looney, and I know they have the young boy Wiseman, but I'm Dwight Howard. Wiseman can learn so much from me because he's headed in that direction of being a great big man. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like even in that situation, playing with all shooters like that, Steph, the way he get open with me setting screens, he's going to get more wide open. Play the same way. Draymond in the pick and roll, me and him, me being able to teach Wiseman how to play defense, how to block shots. I see him as a person that's similar to David Robinson in his size and athleticism. There's a lot of things that I could really teach him. So, that's another good team as well.
So right now you're just in a holding pattern. You want to play
I would
season
love
19.
To play. I would love to play season 19 and go out on top. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely love to do that. That would be amazing. And get a parade like I deserve.
Oh, wow.
Like he deserves. That's funny. Your thoughts on Dwight Howard? Look, I'll let you go first. What do you think?
Well, I love it. And I'll tell you why. Because Dwight Howard is everything Wiseman is not right now. Okay, rim protector, Dwight will show him the way. Rebounding, Dwight will show him how to do that. How to set screens. I think that would be a brilliant pickup. Even if he rides the bench, imagine getting to practice with Dwight Howard every day. I think that would be so good for Wiseman's development, the locker room, and honestly, the Warriors should do it. If we can get him on like a veteran's minimum, I'd be so happy. And that would be the best thing for Wiseman's career, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think he would actually be a fantastic addition. I had complaints even last year. Look, those complaints are moot because they won the world championship, but I had complaints even last year about the lack of size on this team. And I don't know if Wiseman is enough to make up for that. Kelly Oubre Jr., when they lost to the Hornets a few days ago, was mocking the Warriors for their size and was saying on the court that this team is too small for him to defend and that he could just put up whatever shot he wants. I hate that. I don't want to hear that from opposing teams. Dwight Howard brings you size. Dwight Howard brings you defense. That is first and foremost what he's known for. I believe he's a former defensive player of the year, and he has world championship DNA. He knows how to win. Granted, it happened way later in his career, but still, he experienced it. So I'm with you, Christian. And the fact that he's expressing interest in the Warriors, that is what I'm sold on. It's one thing if the Warriors were like heavily pursuing him and he was like, I don't know. No, he came out on Shannon Sharp's show and said, I want to be with the Warriors, man. He sees himself riding off in the sunset with a parade. I love that imagery, man. So we're both on the same page, right? Dwight Howard, yes.
Yep. And also one last thing too, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we're soft, but if we get Dwight Howard, like, I want, when people go into the paint, I want them to be afraid. I want them to know that they might get hit. And I think like Dwight Howard would add that. Kelly Oubre, he's talking smack, but if Dwight Howard was there coming to block your shot, knowing that you might fall on the ground after, I think that would change a lot of things. So Dwight Howard, I sign him right now.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I just love everything he would bring to the team. We conducted a poll on the Locked On Warriors YouTube channel in the community tab. I guess this is a thing that I'm new to, but again, I'm old, so I'm always last at the party with this stuff. And the poll asked if Dub Nation's interested in bringing Dwight Howard to the Warriors. 66% said yes, and then 22% said no, the team is fine as is. And then another 12% said no, but I do want the Warriors to pursue another free agent. So this means basically that 78% of Dub Nation who conducted this poll, as of right now, we have 211 votes, wants the Warriors to do something. And they have an open roster spot. That's one of the best parts about all this. They don't have to cut anyone if they want to bring Dwight Howard in. And when it comes to minutes, look, if you're going to be limiting Wiseman and Kuminga's minutes already, you might as well give them to someone who's actually going to contribute, and in that case being Dwight Howard. What do you think about the Heat game tonight? What are your thoughts? Any prognostications from you?
No prognostications. I love that word. But it'll be a good test. They're a quality team, but also I will say this, like I said, our system, we're not used to losing. So I think you're gonna see, like, from the veteran players, who aren't, like, we went 73-9 one year or whatever.
Yes.
So we're not used to losing. And I think Steph and all these people, after you lose a certain amount of games, they're really gonna pick it up. So I think we're gonna start strong tonight. Like, I think we're gonna have a good locker room chat. We're gonna start strong, and hopefully it carries into the second half. But yeah, Miami's favored, but people, if we got betters tonight, you know what to do.
Absolutely. The line was a pick 'em as of yesterday. I'm with you though. The Warriors for some reason have Miami's number, and I think they're going to turn it around tonight. Two quick things to wrap things up. Shifting gears from the Warriors, there was big news today out of Brooklyn, New York, that the Brooklyn Nets have fired Steve Nash, and Ime Udoka is expected to take over. That's what Shams Charania is reporting. Sham clearly won the battle between Wash today. He broke every news story first. Your thoughts on that, man? Like, do you think the Nets with Udoka? I'm curious. I feel like that's the only person who could maybe turn things around for the Brooklyn Nets, because they don't play defense. Kyrie Irving's a head case. They got to get rid of him regardless, I think. But your thoughts on the news that dropped today? It's a lot.
Okay, well, you're confused about you said about Udoka. Hey, I'm telling you right now, Udoka is gonna have them on point. Okay,
What am I confused about? What do you
No,
mean?
you said you were confused about, like, you weren't sold. You didn't know what was going to happen, rather. Now,
Yeah.
wrong word. But the point is, Udoka, one, I don't even think they really had a coach. Like, Steve Nash had been paying for that courtside seat the whole time. Okay, Udoka got the Celtics right in their first year. So one, Udoka's gonna have the boys listening to him. Kevin Durant, Udoka had Kevin Durant's number. I think that's a good enough reason for KD to listen to Udoka in the first place. All right, now Udoka's gonna have to really, really watch his mannerisms and just, go to work, go straight home. No, side conversations. I'll say it in a nice way, but I think, and I think Boston's really gonna regret letting him go because he's a great coach. I think he gets respect from the locker room. And the net, I think the Nets odds just went up to win the championship. He'll find something to do with Ben Simmons too.
That's the wild card in all this. If he can get the max out of Ben Simmons, then the Nets are a different team. You're absolutely right. Ben Simmons to me and Kyrie, they're just such head cases. I don't know. I'm not sold, but I'm with you in the sense that before I thought the Nets had no hope. Now I think there's actually hope for them to actually have a decent season this year. And by the way, by the way, he can't go back to the Celtics. I don't know if you know all the details of what went down there in Leprechaun Land, but Udoka burned too many bridges there, man. He just could not go back. So he needed a fresh start. I don't blame the Celtics for making the decision. I don't doubt it was difficult, but given what was going on, I just don't know how you can keep him after that. But that's crazy. Let's talk about your book, man. You took a class of mine at St. Mary's College, a sports journalism class. And here you are just a short time later with a book. I'm really proud of you, man. The book is called The Mediocre Student's Guide to Graduating College. What is the book about and what inspired you to write it?
So a few things. One, like the Toni Morrison quote, like write the book you would want to read. Okay. And another thing is, I think like in school, there's always like the top students that people are catered to. And then there's the people that don't try. And then I think there's that like middle tier. I said the mediocre students guide because it's catchier. But the point is there's this whole like that B, C level of students that are trying, not getting the results they want to. There are people that have family expectations of graduating college. And some people just want to get through. So I wrote this book for the people that are just trying to get through college. People want to better themselves. I wrote all these different about like the social life, finances, debt, because we don't want dropouts and all that stuff. And ultimately, like, I just want people to get that degree because quite frankly, it's a status symbol nowadays in society. And I think everybody that wants it should be able to get it. But when you're in high school, you don't know everything. So it's like I essentially wrote about everything I didn't know going into college so that the next person, I've been doing like speaking in the classroom so that the kids can know everything that's going on.
I hope that the degree today isn't just a status symbol. I do hope that there's actually legitimate value in the education. I mean, at a minimum, I tell people, look, I mean, to be in a setting where there's intellectual discourse helps you grow as a person. I mean, there's a social development. And there's also the fact that the degree shows you've committed to something that is not easy to attain. And you did it. You committed for 4+ years, probably more realistically 5 or 6. And you finished something that you started. And that is what, to me, the degree really symbolizes beyond just status. I hear what you're saying, though. And look, every piece of data shows that you're going to make more money with a degree.
Absolutely.
The connections that hopefully you develop in the process. St. Mary's tuition is outrageous. I do.
All tuition is outrageous.
Well, Cal States aren't as bad, right? I mean, like you can go to a Cal State in your state school, still get a solid education, I think, and pay a fraction of the cost, unless I'm mistaken. I've not seen tuition costs in recent years, but right? Am I wrong on that? I mean, isn't Cal State?
You said you haven't seen tuition costs in the recent years. Yeah, that's because you're getting your paycheck from them. They keep going up. I think still, even like every year, they keep going up. The values is still relatively this, I think, just about the same and whatnot. And people, they just got to be able to get in and out free. That's just the bad thing about it. I just don't want to see people getting in debt and all that different type of stuff. So yeah.
Well, first of all, I just want to clear up the paycheck I'm getting as a part-time professor is scratch.
Yeah.
I don't want people to think I'm like sitting comfortably. I am not. And by the way, the average Cal State annual tuition is under $7,000 a year. That's not breaking the bank, is it? For a degree?
Wow. No, that is not great, man. I should have gone to a state school.
I don't know. For some reason people like overlook that. I know UCs are more expensive, but I don't know. I just hope people don't skip the education part altogether. I think in a civilized society, education is a huge part of that. And but that's my opinion. I don't know. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap it up? This was fun.
I'll just it was fun. I'll just say Warriors. I mean, I still got them repeating. We're gonna get right. I'm telling people right now, watch out for Brooklyn. And other than that, keep watching the show. Cyrus, you've been doing a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to see you again. It's been a little while. Like I said, I was expecting to do some more work with you, and then all of a sudden you just started bouncing around. But I love that you have the book. And one more time for people out there, the holidays are just around the corner. You timed this beautifully, by the way. And the book is called The Mediocre Student's Guide to Graduating College. The author is Christian Feraria. You can follow him on Twitter at UTC_Chris or QTC. I'm sorry, _ Christian. What is a QTC, by the way? What does that come from?
It was like some dumb nickname people gave me in middle school. They said Quick Team Chris, because I scored like 10 points in 2 minutes in a basketball game. And it kind of stuck. So yeah.
I love it. And you can follow folks, you can follow Christian there. Thank you, Christian. Hope to have you back on the show soon. Thank you, everyone. Kevin Dana joins me on tomorrow's show, and the Warriors will either be 500 or 3-5. But you think it's going to be 500, right, Christian?
500.
500. There we go. Thanks, everyone. Take care.